Today is Friday the 14th of August, coming into the market open today after yesterday. Another strong close, or a strong close rather, for the S&P, making new all-time highs and closed relatively near the daily highs, although not right at the top, but nonetheless it was a close at new all-time highs. The Nasdaq also made new local highs and a strong daily close as well, and the 10-day now officially reclaimed the 50-day, with the 20-day starting to resume its upwards trajectory. So everything right now across the board is showing me that this is a real trend. This is the start of a new upward trend after this consolidation period we had over June and July, and everything looks good for higher across the board. The IWM also made new all-time highs, although it didn't have such a strong close, but it did close at new all-time highs nonetheless. And the Dow Jones, which is the current laggard of the group, is currently finding support at its rising 10-day. So ultimately, things are just really constructive in terms of price. And just lastly as well, with the Kospi closing the week at new highs of this recent move, gapping up again. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback relatively soon or early on in the week, this next week, as it approaches this 50-day. But ultimately, it's holding strong, and it's looking like this was the bottom. The VIX also continuing to go lower, albeit slightly. It's still towards the lower end of this range, so that's obviously constructive of upwards price continuation. The dollar is also holding this 100 mark. The 10-day is caught up with price now. However, price is struggling to hold above it. So this does pave the way potentially for these higher time frame moving averages to get tested. It would make sense that they do get tested, seeing as they are so close. But ultimately, this 100 level is holding as a clear support resistance area for now. In the commodity space, nothing really to gain from price as of right now. Although this move yesterday from gold, a bearish engulfing and rejecting this 200-day moving average from the underside, is constructive in terms of this. Of price falling back down, although I don't really feel like the precious metals market's had too much influence on anything as of yet, and this is just more confirmation for me that this was just a structural move. Oil is the main thing that I'm going to continue to monitor, and I guess have my eye on, based on the fact that we did put in another red day yesterday, which does confirm that this is a lower high. But as we're kind of at this kind of inflection point in terms of all these moving averages converging, I wouldn't expect too much of a strong directional move in either direction. But if it was any direction, I'd say that actually it would favour the upside, based on the I guess just the support below where the moving averages are. The price has been kind of above all moving averages at this level here. So really, there's a lot of support below, but not too much resistance above. This is obviously the key resistance above. I don't think it matters too much in terms of technical analysis on oil, based on the fact that it's so narrative driven, based on what's happening with Iran and US. And in regards to that, Iran-US is still showing no signs of progress, and the longer that there's no signs of progress, the more stress that it puts on the oil market in terms of price kind of pushing towards the upside. In regards to Bitcoin is looking like it's going to come in and test its weekly low, which would be here around 62,300 mark, and then also the prior week's low as well. So this 62,000 level is a clear level to hold. It's not perfect, but just around this level, if price does start to accept below 62,000, I'd be more inclined to believe in that these lows will potentially get tested, and I think that would be a real a real key moment for Bitcoin in terms of the reaction around that level. If price did go to just above it, at just say 59, and it did hold and kind of showed strong support, then I think that would be real confirmation that price just doesn't want to go lower, based on not only market structure but the fact that Saylor's been selling at these lows. Mara had a big sale earlier on in the week as well, so it would just show that there's the sellers are running out, and actually the prices are being really supported at this level. So the one thing I guess I'm looking at in terms of, if anything, would be the lower time frame moving averages. They have been flattening out, but at the same time they are potentially showing signs of rolling over a little bit here. So that is something to monitor. If the 10-day and 20-day start to fall below the 50 again, that would likely pave the way for, or would support paving the way for further downside price action. But ultimately we're still range bound, in a range bound environment until proven otherwise. In regards to breadth indicators, the number of stocks making new or above their 20-day moving average made new highs, new local highs, which is, it was a relatively flat day for the most part, but it is definitely supportive of further or just strength being present in the market. The number of stocks making new monthly highs also ticked a little bit high yesterday, nothing major, but the number of stocks making 52-week highs did have a fairly decent move, 45% move for this indicator, which is, fairly decent. And that also supports, or is supportive of, the fact that the S&P and IWM made an all-time highs. So more importantly, the S&P making all-time highs. If the indices are making all-time highs and the number of stocks are making new 52-week highs, it's showing that the leaders continuing to lead, and that it's not kind of a rotation that's happening that's pushing the market up. It's actually strength is continuing to push the market up. So that's exactly what I want to see. This is I guess the biggest confluence of strength that I've seen this week. And just to support that a little bit further, even though it's nothing major, it wasn't a major move, the number of stocks making 52-week lows did fall back below 100. So that just supports things a little bit more. And lastly, the bond yields, the shorter duration yields, are starting to show signs of potentially rolling over, especially the 2-year. The 2-year's struggling to hold, or struggled to hold, the breakout above the 200-day, and now looking like it's starting to roll over a bit there. But more importantly, on the daily time frame, we had the first close. The 2-year had the first close below the 50-day since it was initially reclaimed back in March. So that feels pretty significant. It's happening at a key kind of logical level as well. And it's looking like the 10-day will likely fall below the 50-day as well. So on the shorter duration, it's definitely showing signs that things are starting to roll over. And if that does happen, then that is even more supportive of further price appreciation amongst, or in the equity market. And for the 5-year as well, coming in to test the 50-day, although it did test it back here, it's held as support. I guess the fact that it's held as support these times, if it failed to hold as support for the next test, if that, or when that inevitably comes, that would be a good sign to pay attention to, that the 5 years also rolling over. The high durations holding stronger for sure. They're kind of just flattening out, as if anything. But similarly for the 5-year, for the 30-year, the 20-day is holding as strong support. So if we did have a close below that, that would be a nice early sign that this prices maybe, or yields may be rolling over for the 30-year as well. So just having a quick look at Stockby's primary breadth indicators, the number of stocks above making 4% moves to the upside yesterday was higher than the number of stocks making 4% down moves, which again is just showing pure strength, or pure buy-in support. This isn't massive strength, definitely not massive strength, but the fact that it's above 300 is constructive, and the fact that it's above or it's showing that there's more buyers and sellers is just showing, one, that buying is actually there, and two, that there's no selling going on beneath the surface. So ultimately, things are just looking really constructive. It's looking like this trend is true and real, and there's no signs as of right now to be kind of I guess nervous about or anything. So coming into today, based on all of that, I am cautiously bullish, and the reason that I'm cautiously bullish is just because it hasn't been super clean price action, and because there's been no kind of I guess selling, so to say, over the past kind of week or two. There's been no real across breadth indicators and even price, no real upticks in volume. I'm still a little bit cautious based on the fact that maybe there's been too much strength for too long, and it kind of merits a pullback in some way, or just some bit of selling to come in. But ultimately, I'm definitely leaning more to the bullish side, and I'm open to taking any positions that or any setups that present themselves.